I'm going to give Joe about 2 minutes because the Feds lowered the interest rate, but you guys already knew this. And has there been anything from the world, for the finance world? Has it changed? Still the same old, or what can we expect? Joe, are you there?
I am. I unfortunately was on another call, so I was there. I'm sorry. Repeat the question.
So we saw the interest rates go down by a quarter basis. And of course, last week we talked about the market had all that already baked in. But I just wondered, have you seen anything in the, I know they told me applications have gone up. What is your take? Just nothing formal, just off top of your head.
Well, and I think Brian would agree with this, but we're seeing a little more activity because, of course, whenever they say interest rates go down, everybody makes a probing call. So phone calls have gone up. I think Brian would acknowledge that. And then there's also the shock on their finding out that rates didn't improve as much as the TV told them, because as we said, it's already baked in.
Yep.
But at least it gets them calling on the telephone. But I just don't see, as we said last week, there's just nothing going on in the economy right now that's really going to cause interest rates to go down dramatically. You'll see it's going to vacillate as we move forward, but they are what they are. Right now, I think the bigger thing to do is to really focus on buying a house and getting in. And as they always say, you marry the property, you date the rate. There are options to get your interest rate improved if the market goes down considerably, or if you're in escrow and rates improve considerably, we can always go back in and renegotiate something for you to get you a better rate on the transaction. But if people are waiting for anything like we saw in the past, the under 4%, or I've even have had a couple of conversations with people that were talking about, well, rates are going to go back down to where they were, and it's going to get everything going again. And that, I just don't see that happening. And it wouldn't be healthy for the market anyway, because people will stop buying bonds at that point. They won't buy treasury bonds if they're under 4%. The only one that bought them last time was the Fed. Now, Brian, you got any input on that, or any read on that?
No, that's very, very true. The activity level has definitely picked up with the lower rates that we've seen over the last couple of weeks. I'm running into situations of multiple offers again on certain properties. Couple calls this weekend, just to talk real quick about our buy now, sell later. Had a seller who was already in escrow on their sale, found the house that they want, had multiple offers, but they were still writing contingent. And the listing agent knew about my program, told the buyer's agent to call me. So we are in the process right now. It looks very solid to be able to get them to write a non-contingent offer, even though their home has not sold. They may be in escrow, but they still are contingent in that aspect of it. So I can make them non-contingent through our program. I know a couple of you have reached out to me for some more details. I've left a couple of voicemails, but I certainly encourage you to reach out to me. It's a great tool to have in your product set to help people really write a much stronger offer if they're selling a house as well, and get them in non-contingent.
Good. That's awesome.
Brian, you want to comment on that other change on the FHA from last week?
Go for it.
Okay, so Planet is a really large company. It's bigger than the majority of the companies out there, because we're actually a mortgage servicing aggregator, which means that we have a huge portfolio of loans. One of our main purposes in life, our primary purpose in life, is to retain that portfolio and keep that going. But it also gives us the ability to do things that other people can't do, because we've got a little better positioning with the investors, we shall say, and we've got the cash to back up things, which is why we can do buy now, sell later the way that we do. So on FHAs, what they've done is they've come up with a caveat on the guidelines that on a non-borrowing spouse that has credit on FHAs, in the past, you had to count those debts against the transaction, meaning that if someone's trying to buy a house and they have a spouse who has debt in their name that our borrower never had a part of, we have to include that in the debt service calculation. And in FHA, we've got it now where we're not going to do that. If it was their debt and our borrower is not on that debt, we don't have to count that against them. Now, in already trying this out, one of the transactions they talked about last week, they were a couple that had only been married for a couple of years, and they were able to eliminate 11 debts from the transaction. And the borrowing spouse then could qualify much easier, and we got the deal done because of that. So it's definitely something that can help you out if someone is utilizing FHA financing. And don't poo-poo FHA financing. Remember, what's the max loan amount in Santa Clarita, Brian? They're like 1.1 or something, isn't it?
1,209,000.
Pardon?
1,209.
1.2 million on an FHA loan, and you can still do that with 3.5% down. And you could actually do it for no money for closing costs if the seller is going to do concessions on the deal. So, I mean, it's a real cheap way to get into a house.
Yeah, this is that's particularly important for the states that are community property states.
Yes. Yes. Community property states. Yes.
Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for that. That was great. Well, today we're going to do something a little bit different. And that was a chance to just share some dialogue and questions that some of you may have about EXP or real estate that some of us could try to attempt to answer. I don't know who has questions, or I'm just going to turn it over to you guys.
Is anybody doing anything different on the note of listings that is helping you get activity? Like I said, you're saying you've seen some of the buyers come out of the woodwork, other than the fact that they said the rates were dropping. Did you do anything else special with your listings, marketing, anything, whatever, that's getting them a little bit more activity?
We have definitely been redesigning our business and being intentional. You know, we were pretty much all referral. We did a few programs, and we have very aggressively worked really hard on building out our database, getting systems in place. One new program that we're doing that seems to be working really well, I don't know if you guys have it down there, homes.com. Is anybody
Yes.
else? So and I'm just talking here, but homes.com is a really good program if you're a listing agent. You know, you when you got Zillow and stuff like that, you know, Zillow sells the leads off to other agents, and you know, Realtor.com is like you got to pay into it, right? Homes.com has a program that's really good if you're a listing agent, because every single one of your listings, you're the only agent that appears on that listing. So if you're the listing agent, you're the only one that appears. The other great thing is, I don't know if they do it down in your area, but here, if you're a listing homes.com preferred agent, they will actually do a free Matterport video of your listing. And that's really, really good as well. That's like, kind of think of it like, how many listings do you have and how much are you paying them? But for us, because we cover such a wide area, it's really cool because every single one of our listings all over the place where we do have a listing, you know, because we're a domestic team, my wife is the featured agent. And we are getting phone calls from it. It's actually working. And that's a shift for us. We just started that a couple months ago, but I'm finding good value in partnering with that is what I'm trying to get at. Because as agents, we're going to get sold 500 programs, but I'm liking homes.com. How's that?
You know what? I get calls from them all the time, and I have not looked into them. At one of the last EXP events that I went to, not the regional, but prior to that, there was a pretty good push about homes.com from some of the agents that said they're having similar success that sounds like you're having. They didn't say it was for listings, though. If they did, I probably would have jumped in then.
Yeah, like if you're just a buyer's agent, you don't have any listings, you'll be like on a kind of a rotation based on the area. But boy, I tell you, if you have any listings, it's pretty darn powerful because they don't cost extra, but you're the only agent when the person's looking at that address. And I think homes.com is just below Zillow now, as far as traffic and volume and things like that. So, and their pricing was fair. You know, there's all kinds of different, you know, it's based on the demographics and the numbers and everything, but I felt their pricing was fair.
Okay. I'm gonna look into that.
Can you give us a success story, Sid, on homes.com?
I think the main success story is we're actually getting calls on our listings, and it's an opportunity that we're showing it, and so we get the double end the deal. So
Yeah.
to me, that's a win, and we've done it.
Is this an affiliation with EXP or anybody?
To be honest, I do not know. I don't think they're with VXP or in a kind of like dynamic like that. They CoStar bought homes.com, and so they're, you're starting to see all these TV commercials. They're getting some, A-list actors on there and things like that. They're spending like a boatload of, they're investing right now in marketing, and I don't think the pricing that they're charging the agents has caught up to the traffic that they're going to be getting, if that makes sense. There's that kind of in between stage. But like I said, if you have listings, you're the featured and only agent, which is a lot better than all the other things as an agent. We get 500.
Sid, you froze on my side.
Yeah, I think he froze on mine too.
Oh, he throws on mine too.
Yeah, I actually have a commercial listing with CoStar, and because of that, they've been hitting me up with homes.com. And like I said, you get hit with so much stuff. So, I turn off pretty easy with as soon as it comes on with they want me to send them a check. They're like, okay, so what's next? But I do remember, I don't know if there's a special. I might go into Marketplace and see if there's a special connection with EXP, because I kind of remember them saying that to me, but I wasn't paying a lot of attention, to be honest. I think I accidentally answered the phone, but it sounded like and now with a little validation from Sid, I probably will take a second look at it, and because I actually just recently stopped a couple of programs that I had going, and you got to save some money. Your money's got to be working for you, and if it's not working for you with some of these quote unquote systems and things, then time to rotate them or get out of them, put that money into something else.
Yeah, I've been getting texts from home.com, but they're annoying. Hey, you got time to talk? Hell no, I don't have time to talk. That kind of stuff.
Right. Well, it seems like everybody's doing that now. I get
Yeah.
I get 2 or 3 of those. I get 2 or 3 of those a day. And I get termite and escrow and home warranty every day. Every day. Every listing that there's somebody that wants to have escrow and give my seller something for free. We ain't charging nothing. Well, how are you making any money? Okay. Okay. So there's only so much blocking you can do.
Hey, Sid, glad you came back. You went Mr. Freeze on us.
I saw that, yes.
So thank you. We didn't catch the last sentence, and I can't remember what you were talking about.
Yeah, just as an agent, the value for homes.com is I'm finding value in it, and I think that's the main point I wanted to share. A lot of other things I have not found value in.
Can you give us an idea of what it is a month?
To be totally fair, it's totally based on, I think they calculate the number of listings and the traffic in the area, and that's how they based it. So for example, ours was a lot different, but we paid $1,500 for 6 months, and we just kind of paid up front just to try. But so far, I'm finding value. And plus, if you calculate like each listing, they do a free Matterport. How much does that cost you extra? When you do your photography?
Yeah.
And they send a really, really nice, like almost like a magazine, a custom designed magazine to the seller that totally features you as the agent. And here's all the things that we're doing to sell your house. Here's where it's being sent out to. And it's like a high gloss, super high quality. It shows the reach that they're getting. And that's free. That's included with every listing. It makes you look like a rock star, which is always nice.
See, did you say 1,800 for 6 months?
Ours was like 1,400-1,500, but
Okay.
it's strictly based on traffic volume. I that's why I don't want to just
Yeah.
Right. You just broke up kind of, so it was just around 100.
Of course.
Okay. All right. Anybody else want to share anything? Questions or comments?
I have half a question. I was talking to Sid. Sid texted me or called me up before, and we were discussing. I'm sure all of you have seen in your emails, Express Offers is changing, and or we're adding on Express Offers Pro. So just a little bit of details on that.
Yeah, Michael, go ahead.
I just started looking into it a little bit since he said it, because I was not a huge user of express offers, but just the difference. You can still submit properties. I think you have to get certified again, if that's correct. What I understand, you have to get recertified. You can submit. You can bring buyers. You can submit properties, but if you want to bring somebody to the platform, you have to be added to the pro. And I believe there's a cost for that. Do you have any input? Did you do any more research on that, Sid, or kind of wanted to?
I did see a thing on the Slack channel for express offers. They're sunsetting the existing express offers. I believe it's like the middle of October. You can still submit properties onto it up until then, and then after that, they're sending out a link. Like if you want to be on the pro version, I think it's going to be like $25 a month. Is kind of
Okay.
what I saw in the Slack notes. That's about all I know.
Right. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I think there's going to bring a little bit more. From what I see, there's going to be the training and masterminds. They're going to have, landing pages and flexible widgets with it that you won't have if you're going to use the free version. But you're still going to be like, I think some people think when they see this, they say, oh, they're taking it away. They're just adding some extra things to the pro version. And I believe that, most of the people that use express offers use it to submit properties and maybe bring a buyer, but they're not using it necessarily to bring in a buyer and have them use their buy boxes. So we will still be able to use it, I believe, but just not to the complete fullest, or they've added this other feature to it. So
Michael,
yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Elgin. How do you like Slack?
I like Slack. I think, it's a little, well, I think the same with Workplace and Slack. There's a lot of jumble. So you just have to, like Elgin always says, put your notifications what you want. And I love the fact that we can search things, but I think when contacting people and having discussions and sharing files, it works amazingly. Like I can talk to Elgin. I can say, hey, Elgin, we just did this flyer here. Drop it into your Slack, and I can send it in there without having to email it, without having to do anything. I can do face-to-face meetings with my mentees, just the same as the Zoom, but it can be just on my phone. Click, boom. We're having conversations, sharing our screen, doing all that stuff. So there's a lot of functions and features of Slack that I really like. It does get jumbled if you don't go in, and you have to make sure that you're organizing it and take care of your notifications. Though
I have a different opinion on Slack. I'm not a fan, and I'm sorry about that, but I'm not. It just doesn't work as far as a social media platform to me. Like you really, we're so used to certain types of social media that we follow that same process. So we're so used to Facebook, we're so used to Instagram, we're used to these things. Slack is more so like Reddit or something more message based, and it's harder to understand for people that are so used to social media. Like I'm an IT guy, and I have a hard time understanding like the use case for Slack. I just don't get it, and that's just me.
Well,
Maybe-
from my understanding, Slack is not meant to be social media, Jason.
And that's
It
what I
is
mean.
meant to be
yeah.
instant messaging. And my wife's company's been using it for 3 years. I used it about 3 or 4 years ago, so it's been around for quite some time. And it essentially replaced Instant Messenger. So it's really meant for coworkers, and that's why Slack is meant for EXP agent to EXP agent. It's not meant for social media.
Right, and that's why I don't
You're
understand
not
why they
socializing.
replaced. Right, and that's why I don't understand why they replaced Workspace, or was it Workplace?
Yeah, I can't
Workspace?
speak to that. I wasn't here when you guys were using it, so.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
Meta-
and that
Meta-
was more so social media, and then they replaced it with something that's more like Teams or Messenger.
because Workplace was going internal. Meta was taking Workplace internal. Everybody, any company that's using Workplace had to replace it. So it's
Right,
not
so-
no longer available. So
But there's other platforms that are similar to that, and that's what I meant. That's just my opinion, right? Like I really did. Workplace was really usable. It was really the use case was great. Like I conversed with a lot of different people randomly in different places that were EXP agents. Like I made I made friends with a person in Oklahoma randomly because she liked a post I made, right? So it was very similar to just Facebook, because it was Facebook. So if they were to find some other platform that was the same thing, that was that only had an EXP platform in it, then that would be great. But yeah, this doesn't seem like the same to me, and that's because exactly it's not supposed to be the same.
If I can, so I'm on the AAC for the state of Oregon. So in state of Oregon, we have 1,200 agents. And at the last meeting we had last week, they pulled the stats. Only 50% of the Oregon EXP agents have actually joined Slack.
Yeah.
And the challenge is we're having a communication problem because I'm launching all these meetings and events and things. And I know our marketing team within EXP Oregon is like, hey, we got this meeting here and that meeting there. Communication is people aren't getting messages. People came to my meetings like, oh, I didn't know you guys were doing this. And yet we've been blitzing it like crazy. So the adoption rate of Slack is really, really low.
Yeah, I can echo that. I mean, I just attended FastCap last week. We concluded last week, and some of the agents are not new to EXP. They've been around for a while, and they're exchanging ideas. So I try to reach out to them on Slack, and many of them it'll say profile not set up. So I know they've never even gone into Slack even once. So if I leave them a message, they probably won't even get it. I think Elgin was the same way a few weeks ago. I think I sent him a message and it said profile not there. I think now he's gone in and updated it. So now I think, well, he might see my message if I send him one. But so if I see somebody that doesn't even have a profile set up, I won't even bother sending a message. So yeah, I'm just echoing what Sid experienced. I'm experiencing that just being in a presentation with hundreds of EXP agents, literally like 400 people were in the fast track, and reaching out to a dozen of them that are not on Slack. And it's like, come on, they should just make it automatic. Don't even make it an option, just make it automatic.
Well, two things too that I would say, and you're right. With me and Slack, I think I'm set up. I'm not sure, and it would be great if they had been a way that they could transition everybody from, because I was a big workplace user. If they could just put everybody into Slack. But I also think that, particularly say the last 6 to 8 months consistently, that EXP has pretty much added, changed, moved different things around in pretty much almost all of their spaces. Like we're just talking about express offers, talking about Slack. You can go through a lot of that stuff, and not to sound like an old fogey, but it's like, okay, I just mastered this. I just learned how to do this. And and now you want to change my CRM has changed. I was one of the original express offers users. I love the workplace settings. You don't want to complain about it, but what happens, though, at least for me, and I would say this to there are other agents that are still productive and are busy. Sometimes it take the time. It's like you feel like, okay, I got all of this new stuff to learn. Like I'm trying to relearn my CRM because they went from KV Core to Bold, and that's a big thing for me because that's a big part of how I do my business. At least so for me, and I said all that to say, what I had actually dedicated myself to last week, and I haven't started, is to try to take to actually put into my schedule times to learn something about all of the new changes and begin to implement them properly. Because you can't even, at least for me, I can't implement them with my virtual assistant because I can't explain to her what to do. So that's what I'm doing. I'm actually going to take a little bit of time each week, and to 30 minutes, whatever. And that's exactly all I'm going to try to do to try to learn, because I can't even give an opinion of Slack, honestly, because I don't, like, for me, I don't understand it, and I can't tell you it's harder or it's easier. I just don't understand it. But I do know that if the company is going to be doing Slack, I got to do it too. So that's kind of the way if KV Core is Bold Trail, well, I got a Bold Trail now. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of it's a mindset for me. And I'm just going to take it piece by piece, and I'm going to take them in the orders of what I need for my business to stay productive. And that's where the priorities are going to be for me. And
What I do notice though, for you, Elgin, is that you still stay pretty strong on the platforms that don't change, that aren't controlled by EXP, which is Facebook. I'm not sure if you're on Instagram or not. I think I see you. But anyways, definitely Facebook. You're still strong on that. And I still, see your posts on that. And that's what I think I see more of than anything else now. is posts from EXP agents that I've not seen before. Like there's a military EXP military group that's in the regular Facebook. There's the EXP group itself. There's EXP luxury I see all over Facebook and Instagram because because of the purse. But other than that, I feel like that's if you stay strong on that, I still follow you. I still see what your posts are on that. I still see what Michael posts on Facebook and stuff, especially for meetings like this. So I think I don't know. It's like when I tell my what people I sponsor, what people I try to recruit, that you probably want to set up an email account outside of EXP in case things change, right? We as agents can always go back and forth. I'd never tell them, go ahead and move off of the EXP, but if it may happen one day, and all the marketing you've done under EXP, or even if you switch from like EXP residential to EXP referral division or the commercial division, you lose that email account. So all that marketing you've done in that email account on business cards and stuff like that, that's gone. So I always suggest people do that outside of and use an email outside, like in Gmail. Same thing. I think I've been telling people, I've been sharing posts from you or from others from just regular Facebook because I don't know how to share things on Slack to people. I just don't know. They're messaging to people, right? Back and forth. Even Teams, back in Microsoft Teams, I would see like certain groups in Microsoft Teams and they would talk about certain things, right? I don't see that much in Slack as far as groups. And I'm joined a bunch of different groups. I just don't see anything like real interesting. So I'll try. I'm trying to adopt that platform as well. It's just the use case for it isn't great for me.
One thing I would tell you though, you should all, and this is just honest and from an old school guy, you need to have something on your own. Like I might have, Elgin.Walker at exprealty.com, but I also have Elgin at thewalkersolely.com that I own. That I believe it or not, after all these years, I still have top producer. And everything that goes into Bold, I put in the top producer. I use BombBomb. I have the BombBomb with my with Bold now, which is KV Core, but I also have a separate BombBomb account.
Excuse me, what is top producer?
I'm sorry.
What is top producer?
Top producer is just they've updated it some, but it's more of an old school CRM. And now they have it where it's a little clunky. It's a little clunky. They have a desktop version, but now they actually have an online version that's pretty interactive. But it in my opinion, it's not as good as some of the newer type of CRMs that are out there, and its connectivity and things like that. I think there's some things on it that, like for me, because I do a lot of letters, I do a lot of stuff like that. A lot of that stuff is incorporated, and it's easier to do. It's easier for me to merge and all that. But my point is that whatever it is, there are a lot of agents that like Follow Up Boss. There are a lot of agents that they don't necessarily use the exact tools, because remember, the tools that we have at EXP are tools that are that we're given versions of to try to make sure everyone is productive and it's one less thing to think about. But I will tell you, just like everything else in life, you need a backup for certain things. What if KV Core had went out of business and not became Bold? I mean, what if, so you need to have, particularly for your data, your database is your business. Your database, I don't care how you use it, I don't care what you think about it. I don't care. It's your business. Your clients, your contacts are in there. Yeah, you can have your phone. I don't know most people that have their phones that are organized. You have 5,000-10,000 names and numbers in your phone. They're not organized. So you need to have your business in that, and you need to protect that just in case, for whatever reason. Whatever the reason is. I've had that top producer account. I've had that account since the 90s. I've been an investor in a Remax company. I went 13, 14 years with Remax, 13, 14 years, whatever it was with KW, up to the 7 years or whatnot. Then I'm here. I can't lose all that data. There's a value for me to have that whether or not it's what I use every day or not. But all of my stuff is in there. I have every transaction that I've ever done in Top Producer, even the ones that I do today. I can't lose that. I can't lose that data. So you should have backup plans.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Go ahead, Michael.
No, I was just gonna address everything. I think, in to tie it all in, like Matt said, and Jason said, it is separate. It is Slack is more for your, for a business communication, and they are, expecting and allowing us, hey, use some of these outside things. But I'm using social media to connect with agents outside of EXP. I'm using social media to connect with my clients, and I'm, lead generating with that. When I want to come and keep it more business-like and not look at pictures of cats jumping through, windows or eating birthday cake, then I want to come to Slack and go direct with there. But also with all this stuff, we're branding ourselves. So that's why we have our own emails, our own websites that we want to keep going. And the other thing is just remember, because EXP is so large, they have to provide all this information. I always go back. My son plays football, right? He plays on a team. He's on the junior varsity at this school right now. He gets a dress for varsity, woohoo, little pump, but he's on the junior varsity. The school is a no-cut, football's a no-cut sport. So they have people coming in that are just playing football for the first time. And then they have these people who are, rock stars. And they have to cater and be able to teach and have things accessible for the people just learning. They have, they have the capabilities in their training and doing things for the people that are more and make that available. But you have to look at in general, and that's what they provide. They cannot only provide the high level stuff because somebody coming in or the average agent or the below, just starting agent would not understand and would not be able to keep up to speed. And then we'd lose all of them and the support would come. So by having that accessibility, you're going to have somebody who may not understand anything, but they come in, they're able to learn, they're able to catch a fire, they're able to click, then they go to the next level. Now you have some rock star that a lot of companies would have been like, oh, you can't follow, so we're going to cut you, or you shouldn't be with us in the first place, when all they need is 3 months understanding the system, and then they can go boom, boom, and then becomes rock stars, as far as real estate agents and attractive and helping grow the company and contributors. So that's why I think they do it. And it's just like Elgin said, is we all need to take a little bit of time. And sometimes it's true, Jason, there's going to be things that we don't like, right? It's not for me. I prefer this, right? And that's just the way it is. But what we have, we should take a little time every week, every month, or whatever. I try to do it every week and learn a little bit more about the tools that we have, so that we can use them a little better. And we might find, oh wow, this can do this, I didn't realize it. Or make some contacts in there and say, hey, how can we make this better? I don't see the groups that I want on here, and I don't see people interacting as much. Is it because the people aren't using Slack as much? Or is it because they don't understand it? Or just because there's the groups that aren't here, they didn't transfer over from Workplace. So if I can figure a way to contact the people and get those groups back up and running on Workplace and get the interaction that way, then it's going to be better. So that's what we need to do. Just make sure we're involved, we know how to use it better, and then share that knowledge with others who are trying to learn and understand with it as well.
Well, you know what? And lastly for me, but I know Frank's probably got to go. With one thing one thing I really would encourage you guys, I think that we all get lost in all of the technology, all of the stuff. I got to have this set up. I got to do this. Let me tell you something. Talk to people and sell some houses. Talk to people, sell some houses, add some agents to your team. Because let me tell you something. I may not know Slack. I may not know this. I may not know that. But if I'm doing 2 to 3 deals a month with an average GCI of $14,000, $15,000, $16,000, do you really think I care? I mean, seriously. I mean, seriously, you think I care that much? I don't. I know, because I know I'm going to figure that out sooner or later. But try knowing everything but not making any money and see how that feels. Because I done definitely been there. That don't feel good. So, talk to some people, learn this stuff, but man, keep your businesses growing with buyers and sellers and investors and families that you can help and all that type of stuff. Because we got enough going on doing that. So, obviously you want to learn, you want to make your stuff as easy as possible. You want to keep up. But one thing that I've been doing it so long to learn that I can never keep up completely was because everything changes so much. So, obviously got to keep up, make it easier for you. You have some stuff you don't understand. Ask Chat GPT. How do I use Slack? What's the best way for me to use Slack? What's the best way for me to do this? Because to share this with you guys, I did that. Because I tried to take a class in Slack and couldn't. So I just typed it into the Chat GPT and he gave me at least enough to go, oh, okay. Now, of course, I've got to read it and learn that. But you know what? I'm learning that in between talking to people, in between taking listings, in between putting some families into homes. Because at the end of the day, that's what we do. Because you do 2 or 3 deals a month. If you don't want to learn Slack, you pay somebody. Okay, I'm done.
I think we're going to end on that note. That was awesome. I don't use Slack, guys. I hire a virtual assistant he set it all up because I'm too busy. But anyway, that's just me. Hey, everybody, next week, Sid is going to be our featured speaker. I hope you all come back because Sid is just killing it right now. And he is going to be letting everybody know his secrets and what he's doing. And it's going to be amazing. Right, Sid?
That's right. That's right. I'm excited.
I know you are. Okay, you guys have a great week and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.